I took a massive gamble and raised our prices across the board, 40%, and here's what happened. Welcome back to Josh Uncut, guys. Those of you who do not know me, I have been building this business for the last 10 years, and today I'm going to share some of my business wisdom with you guys. So I'm just hanging by the garden store, so I like to hang out during the week. But in this video, I'm going to explain how you can increase your prices. You can't just wake up and massively increase your prices. You have to have a few things in place. You have to understand why customers will be choosing you, and most importantly, you have to understand your pricing architecture. Over the last 10 years, we've been building trust with all our customers. You know, you can't just change your prices. You have to make sure that you're giving your customers outstanding value and outstanding quality, and that's what we do here. And in this video I'll explain in a bit more depth how to do that. So we're just walking through the Love Island parade here, but come inside with me and I'll draw you some cool diagrams of how we do all this. Those of you who are wondering, this is our customer avatar called Jake. Now this was kindly drawn by our super duper office administrator Gail. She's amazing in the office, but also a real hidden talent for drawing. This was my example of trying to draw Jake. As you can see, an artist is not my next career. So why is it important to increase your prices? Well, here's what happens when you do increase your prices. So we start up here and you go up 40%. Then what happens when you've got more cash in the bank? You can innovate. That gives you capital to buy that next bit of machinery that you wanted to buy. That gives you capital to build a shared centre, to attract more customers, put more software into the company to drive better customer service. For example, we put in a live tracking feed so our customers can see where a surveyor is when we're en route to give them a quote. But that can only happen when you've got enough money and enough cushion there to do that. Look at these big massive companies like Apple, airline companies, you know, they're not afraid to charge you way more than what it costs them to produce that product. So once you've innovated and you've put more money back into the company to make it a better company, you can then pay your staff more money on wages. And if your staff are paid well, then you know what happens? Your staff become happier. So when you've got happier staff, they become more productive. So then your customers become happier. So happy staff, happy customers. Happy customers want to come back. They become sticky customers. Sticky customers want to pay the price because they know they're getting great value. So then what happens? You can put your prices back up, and then you can repeat the same cycle and just keep going round and round. Obviously you're hit a critical mass and nobody's going to pay you, well, nobody I know is going to pay you £10,000 a day to cut grass. But if you do find that person, let me know who they are, because I want to meet them. I'm not saying you can put your prices up 40% year after year. It's very industry dependent, so you have to know your industry, know your customers, test and measure to get the correct results. So the next thing, there's 5 key factors, need a new rubber, 5 key factors why customers will pick a certain business. Now most people out there just think customers pick based on price, but no. There's 5 factors that will influence a customer's decision on choosing you. Number 1 is price. Companies that compete on price are at the bottom of the scale. You don't see Apple competing on price. They'll happily charge you £1,100 for an iPhone, what costs them £50 to make, whereas Samsung, I don't think they charge anywhere near. So price is just one small factor in determining a customer's decision. Customer service. If you compare British Airways and Ryanair, 2 completely different businesses but still get customers. One is more focused on customer service and one is more focused on price. If you try and complain to Ryanair, they just laugh at you. Complain to British Airways, they'll try and help you. The next main thing is reliability. Do you turn up when you say you're going to turn up? Do you do what you say you're going to do? And are you just easy to work with? Now, if a customer phones us, we'll answer the phone right away. We'll book them in for an appointment. We'll go to that appointment at the time we say we're going to do it. Then we'll book them in for the job. We'll turn up when we say we're going to turn up at the time we said we're going to do each time, every time. Customers know we are reliable, so they'll happily pick us over the cheaper company, because the cheaper company, we've turned up 3 hours late and on the wrong day, doesn't answer the phone, he doesn't know if he's in New York or New Haven. Point number 4 is quality. So how good is your product or service? Is it better than your competitors? Is it worth that extra price that you're going to charge? For example, Primark is low quality, low price compared to Nike, which is high quality products at a slightly higher price. So both companies have their own separate space in the marketplace, and both those companies know what customers they're trying to target. They have a specific strategy to target who they want, who are looking for that quality, because some customers are quite happy to pay less money and get a less good product, but some people want to pay more and get a better quality product. Just remember who you're selling to and stay in your lane. If your lane is great quality, high prices, then that is what you do. Do not change that for somebody else who walks in the door who wants something a bit cheaper. If your lane is lower quality, lower prices, for example, McDonald's, they're not the best burgers in the world, but they're the world's largest restaurant chain. They don't try and sell fancy hamburgers. You know what you're getting when you walk in the door, and that is what they deliver each time, every time. Which makes them reliable, which then creates trust with customers. And lastly, ecological values. How much does your company care about the environment? This is a big thing, especially nowadays. Look at all the massive protests happening outside Shell offices in London because they're drawn for oil and people don't like it. For us, what we done a couple of years ago, invested heavily into electric tools. And customers loved that. Customers were phoning us saying, oh, I see you guys care about the planet and care about the environment. You guys have got battery tools, so that's why they're phoning us. Knowing what your customers care about and reacting to that is something that will drive them spending their money with you. And the next thing you really need to know when you're trying to increase your prices, who is your customer? Who is your customer avatar? For us, we've got Jake over here. That's our wee mascot. So what does your customer look like? You need to understand that Rolex are the best in the world at this. You know, if you walk into a Rolex shop and ask to buy a Rolex, they won't give you one. You have to go on the waiting list and they have to understand who you are. Now, one day I would like a Rolex, so I'm going to go in and say I'm 27 now, in 3 years time, quite a long for my 30th birthday, and when I'm 40, when I'm 50, one every 10 years, different anniversary. They really love that. That's the sort of customer they want. But if you go in and you tell them, yeah, I want to buy this and I'm going to sell it the day after to make a high profit, because the second-hand market for Rolexes is actually more expensive than the first-hand market because they're very hard to get because there's a massive waiting list. What Rolex are doing, they're creating a demand for the product by putting everybody on a big waiting list and then picking the exact customers that we want. So it creates a much stronger brand, which creates much more demand. If you do want to buy a Rolex, they'll phone you, say we've got one ready. You've got a week to buy it, and if you don't buy it, we'll just phone the next person. So a really great business model. That's quite an extreme example, being a billion-dollar company, but for small businesses, understanding who you want to sell to is the key. In our world, we are looking for the Jakes of this world. So if a customer phones us and wants regular gardening work done and wants us to turn up every 2, every 4 weeks, our minimum price is £320. And if they say that's too expensive, we say, that's great, we're not the company for you. We turn that customer away because we know what customer we want, which creates a much better customer bond between the customer and the company, and it'll create a sticky customer. Now, back in the day, we used to do grass cuts for £20 for everybody. And all what happened there is we just lost lots of money, and Monday to Friday the business would lose money. Saturday, Sunday, I would be out fencing and the fencing would make money. So we had about 200 customers paying between £20 and £70 per visit, probably averaged about £30. You know, we had to up our prices significantly because we were losing money, so we upped our prices to minimum £96. We lost 90% of our customers, but made much more profit because each job was actually profitable. So all those customers who left were now not our customers, and we had to find new customers that wanted that level of service. Through our marketing, that is what we did. And the only way to do all this, you need to have a lean, mean quoting machine within your business. So you need to get hundreds of leads in your business, and then you can pick the best ones or pick the customers that do want to work for you. If you've got a pool of 10 leads to pick from and you try and put your prices up and all 10 leave you, you've now not got any work. We get 100 leads per week coming into the company, so we know that we're getting customers that want to use our services, and the ones that don't, they don't, and the ones that do are great customers. So I'm going to do a drawing to illustrate what I'm talking about. So as we know, my drawing skills are not as good as my business skills, but I will try my best. So this is Jake. This is his fishing rod. He's in there with his wee hook. Here is a pond. This is a pond, and this is a pond has got lots of wee fishes. He's fishing for leads. If that pond only has 9 fish, he might struggle to find a fish. If that pond has 1,000 fish, he'll put his rod in and he'll just catch fishes all day. So that's how you need to think about creating leads for your business. You generate leads by doing work in marketing. I've done lots of videos on how to market your business and generate leads, so I suggest you watch that. Another example of that's the leads is a chimney pot. So where do you live? Do you live in a small village with 200 people? Or if you want to put the price off, if you're going to have villagers coming down at you with pitchforks, or do you stay in a big city with 1 million people? There's chimney pots everywhere that, you know, are happy to buy your services. If you've got an online business and you can sell worldwide, or if you've got a niche business where you have to sell locally, all that will influence what you can do with your price to create value for your customers. The biggest thing I see with business owners make a mistake is they think they are their customer. They're not. Most business owners gauge their prices on what they would pay for the service or for the product rather than what the market would pay. And that often has a massive disparity between the two, and is why most small business owners do not charge enough for their services, because they base it on what they perceive it as rather than what other people will perceive it as or perceive the value to be. Look at airlines. They'll charge you £100 to change your name on a ticket. Look at insurance companies, you phone them up to dot the I, they'll charge you £50. Look at the massive pharmaceutical companies, they'll sell you drugs for £50, £100, £200, making humongous margins on that, but we know people will pay it because we've created value in the product or service that we're doing. So you know what we've done by increasing our prices, it was a big risk. I was not sleeping at night, I had a few sleepless nights. I did not know for certain if it was going to pay off, but I truly believed in the value we created for our customers and the services that we offer were truly great value. We were creating a great experience for our customers, and I thought, you know what, I need to really try this and see if it will work, and it's helped massively. We've been able to innovate the company so much more than what we had before, which has in turn provided an even better service for the customers. We've got even happier staff to provide great services for our customers, and we can do cool stuff like build a massive shed centre over there, which is probably the nicest shed centre in Edinburgh for certain. Nowhere else is kitted out as nice as that and is as customer friendly as what we've created, and that's at the core what we believe, you know, providing a great customer experience and having a happy and motivated workforce to do that. So if you're sitting there or standing there watching this video wondering if you can really increase your prices that much, give it a try. Follow the tip, watch my other videos, reach out to me on DMs, like and subscribe for more content. I might even buy your business off you.